Hello and welcome to Mo Spurs Podcasts. Today we are going to be looking at Liverpool FC versus Tottenham, a shambles of a game. We're going to be analysing lineups, first all the key moments, and then player performances. So let's get straight into it. The first thoughts on the game, it was a pretty bad game. Tactics were all wrong. We went 5 at the back and it didn't work. Players couldn't create. When Harry Kane got injured, that wasn't great. And Liverpool just completely outclassed us. We had 3 shots. We literally couldn't create a chance to save our lives. We'll get into the lineups now. We played 5 at the back, which didn't work. When we play 5 at the back against Sheffield, and it doesn't work, you can't do that against Liverpool. Tactics were all wrong. We played Joe Rodon, Eric Dyer, and Ben Davies in centre back. As much as Eric Dyer is a good player, Joe Rodon's going to be a great player in the future. Ben Davies is not a centre-back. Can't keep trying to play him centre-back. He needs to play left-back. We had the players to go play 4 at the back with the almost full-strength defence without Sergio Reguilon. But we decided to go 5 at the back. And as much as Joe Rodon played well, he played with courage. But he made the mistake for the 3rd goal, which ultimately killed us off. Then let's get into the midfield. We had Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Tanguy Ndombele. If we're playing our creative player in CDM, it doesn't work. He's playing so deep. He's working on how to position himself defensively that he doesn't have the time to create chances. And in the end, we didn't create chances. We didn't have many shots on target. We didn't expect to have possession, and we didn't. But when we didn't have the ability to play through Ndombele because he was completely outnumbered, we had to send Hail Marys down to Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. And at times it worked, but it just wasn't good enough. Then we have the right wing-back and left wing-back, Matt Doherty and Serge Aurier. I think playing 2 right wing-backs in a left wing-back and right wing-back role didn't work. We couldn't cope with it because they had no influence on the game whatsoever. They couldn't put a cross in. They couldn't be part of the attacks or mark properly. So, complete shambles from Mourinho there. And then our attack was pretty much the same as we always have. Bergwijn, Son, Kane. Of course, Kane came off at halftime with an injury, which is not great. It was a bit annoying, of course, that we're going to miss him, especially. I think he's going to be missed in the Chelsea game. Bergwijn came off. I think that was mainly because of the yellow card. And Aurier came off, and that was a change of shape. And we had Eric Lamela come on. I was very disappointed with Eric Lamela. He could not put a pass straight. If you look at any of the highlights of the game, you won't see Eric Lamela in them. Then you see Gareth Bale. As much as we all love Gareth Bale, what did he do in the game? I'm not quite sure. He came on late, of course, so he didn't have much time. And then we have Harry Winks. I liked Harry Winks. His ball progression was good. His dribbling was good. He was able to pass the ball forward, and he wasn't just looking horizontally. He was looking vertically. But when you now have the likes of the presence of Harry Kane up there, sometimes you just can't create enough. Then we'll look at Liverpool's team. They had a makeshift centre-back in Jordan Henderson, and he did well, to be fair to them. He did very well. As someone who's not played there very much, he did well. Andy Robertson, didn't see him too much. I expected more of him, but he did well. Trent did extremely well. He got back on form against us, which was annoying. The others, midfielders created. We were outnumbered in midfield because they had 3 and we had 2. And their attack is obviously, they weren't scoring. And of course, they hadn't scored in 468 minutes. But then they come back to score in a period of just 22 minutes. They scored 3 goals against us. Phenomenal. So then they took off Thiago Alcantara with, I think it was more of a head injury just to be safe. Matip at half-time, which I am not sure why they took him off. I think it was an injury. Of course, he is made of glass. And Firmino. which I think it was just simple, just fresh legs. Thankfully, Divock Origi didn't do to us what he did in the Champions League final, but he didn't even need to this time. So now let's get on to the first key moment, and it's the Son disallowed goal. Now, this was... we kind of saw that it was offside already from the first part of open play. But when you looked at it back on the replay, it was his heel. His heel was offside. Now, I want to say, I don't think VAR was the issue here. I think, yes, he was offside. But it did, I think, affect our chances of winning the game. Because if that had been allowed and we had gone on to go 1-0 up, I think we really could have, stopped them from scoring more. But because we were 0-0 at halftime, then they went in halftime with 1-0. We had to go out and, try and win the game, and that's when we got caught. So then we'll go on to their goal. In the second goal, Serge Aurier completely done, caught completely out of position, and it was a simple ball to Mane in the end, who just taps it over to Firmino. It was a very, very simple goal caused by horrendous defensive mistakes. And as much as we hate blaming people here, it was Serge Aurier who was caught completely out of position. He is prone to defensive mistakes, and that's why he was dropped. That's why we did buy Matt Doherty. But it's just an example of what he's done today, and it really hurt us in the game. There's nothing else anyone could do. It was a simple ball across to Firmino. Maybe Lloris could have got there, but it was just horrendous defensive mistake after another. Then we get on to an incident that happened at halftime. Serge Aurier, he left the pitch, he left the stadium altogether, and he went home apparently. At first I thought it was due to personal issues, but there are reports that he got into a fight with Hugo Lloris. This is a big incident, of course, because when players are fighting against each other, yes, it shows that there's passion, but in the middle of the game, you can't have players fighting against each other. You can't have, especially with your captain has to be the one that's breaking up the fights. It's just childish then. It just becomes childish, and we had to change shape because of him. We had to change how exactly we play, because he wasn't going to play. So let's get on to the next goal. Then we get on to the second goal. Doherty gets completely turned by Mane. I think somebody like Højbjerg or someone had to get maybe a few steps closer. Maybe could have done something with a shot, but I think there wasn't too many people to blame here. It was just Liverpool being Liverpool. They took a shot, and unfortunately the rebound fell straight to Alexander-Arnold, who placed it in the bottom corner. There's nothing anyone could have done about that. I think it was a very simple goal. Maybe we could have gone closer to Mane, not let him turn, but there's nothing you can do. Then we're 2-0 down there, and I think most Tottenham fans and all of us kind of knew game's kind of over now, because Liverpool are good defensively. Even though they had a makeshift defence, they are still okay defensively. And to get us back in the game, the one and only Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, when we need him, he comes up with something. And we have seen in the last few games that his shooting has not been on point, so it looks like it's something that he has done in training to improve this, because wow, what a strike. That was something special. That was incredible. It was veering away from Alisson. Bergwijn passes it out to him, and first time strike. No one came out to him. I think Liverpool would be disappointed with that goal because no one came out to him, but that was phenomenal. There's no stopping that one. That was incredible. Now let's get on to the third Liverpool goal. We're actually going to look at the Liverpool disallowed goal. It was a handball by Thiago Alcantara. I think it was a clear handball, and it affected the play completely. The ball was going away from him. This should have been a warning to us. We should have gone on and done something, and maybe brought on the subs now. Maybe gone and attacked and really got something on the game. Maybe played Tanguy further forward, but we couldn't do anything after that. I don't think from there onwards, I don't think we created a single chance. But we were lucky that it wasn't 3-1 there, or else it could have been much worse. But it was a great strike by Salah. He did well. He went keeper's near side. The deflection helped him a bit, but in the end it didn't count, so it doesn't matter for now. As for the third goal for them, Trent, he put in an excellent ball to Mane, and it was a bit of a mistake from Joe Rodon, but you can't slag on him too much because he played an excellent match apart from that. I think he really showed some quality and why he deserves to be playing every week. But the mistake, it really cost us, because I think after that all the players felt that there's no coming back from this. It's over. And to be fair, I think it probably was. The ball was excellent. Maybe Lloris could have gone out and stopped the ball getting all the way out, but I think in that scenario, when a player makes a mistake like that, there's nothing really you can do. We are now going to get into the final segment of this podcast. We are going to be looking at each player and rating them on how they performed today. So we'll start off with Hugo Lloris. I think he didn't have much to do, because every time they had a chance, they went off and scored it, and their other chances were not great. They punished us at every chance, big chance that they got. But I'm going to give him a 6. I think for the first goal, he could have come out and got it, maybe even for the second goal. But I think a 6 is a fair score for him. Let's get on to Big Joe Rodon. I think he played well. Apart from the mistake, he maybe would have got a 9.5, because he did really well. He showed courage. He didn't let Mane get through. He was playing on the right side of a 3. So I'm going to give him a 6. I think if it wasn't for this mistake, probably a 9. But the mistake really cost us. Then there's Big Eric. There was a few injury scares there at the start of the first half, and it was not looking good for him. But he stepped up. I think, like always, he wins all the balls. His passing is really good. But I think there was a few times when we tried playing out from the back and it didn't work, and there was times where it was him. I think I'm going to give him a 7. He did well, but again, some mistakes. Let's get on to Ben Davies. Now, Ben Davies, I didn't see much of in the game. He didn't pass. He was always passing horizontally, which I didn't like. There was sometimes he passed to Tanguy, but you could see that Eric was actively trying to find that long ball, which is what we needed, because we could not play out from the back. Whereas Ben Davies, I just didn't see enough of him. So I'm going to give him a 5. Then we look at Serge Aurier. Now, he only played a half. But in that half, he made a mistake that led to a goal. This happens time and time again. And he knows it. He knows himself that he's prone to mistakes. So I don't know why he's not doing something to fix that. I'm sure he's doing something in the background. But for me, it's a 3. When you make a mistake, and maybe, people are going to be telling you made a mistake, you can't run off, and go home. You have to prove to everyone why, you're still good enough to play in the team. But for me right now, he's just not good enough to play in the team. I think if we're looking at next game and the games after that, I think it's Doherty and Ben Davies for me. Serge Aurier was doing well at the start of the season, but he's just fallen off a bit and gone back to just being Serge Aurier again. It's gone to Højbjerg now. Obviously, that amazing strike. He sweeped up everything. He was phenomenal. Best player on the pitch for me. Absolute quality there. Him and Tanguy, the partnership is working. Tanguy's learning how to defend properly. And the goal for me as well, it was excellent. I think I'm going to give him a 9. Maybe if we got the win, a 10. But for me, a 9. He played phenomenal game. Let's get on to Tanguy. Tasty Tanguy. For me, he played well. He's learning how to defend properly. I think the way that we're playing him is just, I think it's too far back for him. He's learning to defend properly, but then there's no creators. He has to do a lot of running to create then. And I think that's why, in that respect, I think we need to play Harry Winks and maybe go forward to Black and do the 4-2-3-1 that we're used to. Because that really worked for us, because we had the ability to let Tanguy go even deeper sometimes and Harry Kane drop, or for Harry Kane to go even higher and Tanguy to go high as well. But the way he played well. He was making dribbles. His dribble completion rate was high. His passing rate was good. So I think I'll give him an 8. After halftime, he kind of disappeared a bit as well. He progressed a bit, but there was just no one there for him. There was not that big presence of Harry Kane, so it was a bit unfortunate. But I think a 7 or 8 is probably fair for him. Matt Doherty playing out of position. I think for playing out of position, he did all right. Didn't see him have much of an impact on the game. He wasn't able to really get into the game because I think he was too preoccupied on Trent and Salah, trying to mark them both. So I think in that regard, I'm going to give him a 6. Didn't do too much, but he didn't make mistakes too much either. I think he had 2 people to mark. Ben Davies was staying tight to Eric Dyer, and I think, there was just too much for him to do. And then Stevie Bergwijn, sometimes I just don't know what to say about him. He's a good player. We've seen in training and from Spurs official clips that, he can score. But sometimes I feel like he just needs to, get in the deeper positions. And I think today he showed that sometimes, and there's glimpses of that. But he was just getting, he kept going too wide, or he wasn't in the right positions at times. And I think for the Højbjerg goal is a perfect example that when he gets in the right positions, he knows how to make that right pass. The pass that he knows that, okay, this guy's running into space. Let me pass to him. And obviously with Harry Kane going off, it didn't help because there wasn't too much to pass to. But I think a 7 for him today. He got the assist as well. Maybe even an 8. I might change that to an 8. And then let's get on to Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane, for the first 35 minutes of the game, played really well. Getting in, getting chances. He was the reason we were in the game. But once he got injured, you could see he didn't want the ball. He tried to walk it off. The first tackle by Thiago, he couldn't walk properly after that. He was walking gingerly. And then the second time, it was an off-the-ball ankle injury. And it seems that he's out for a couple of weeks now. So that's not great, is it? He'll be really missed because, especially against a Chelsea game when we need a presence like that. But it's not looking good now, though. It's